Hey everybody, I'm going to turn my comments on so I can see you and get everything else turned off. I hope you're all doing okay, and I hope we have some folks here because I know we missed last week. And here we go. Hey Rachel, hey Carol, hey Lilina. Let's see, I think I missed a few people. Hey Rose, hey Donna, hey Susan. And I'm sorry about last week. I know we were going to get together on Sunday. Hey Lori. Um, we Hey Kathy, we had to take Kathy back to the airport on Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design. Hey Robbie, happy 4th. And on Sunday, and then because Everett's daughter Emma is down there, she graduated from college in Charlotte, and she's still living down there. We spent most of the day with her. So hey Lori, I might have said that. Oh, so hey Lori again. Hey Joanne. I'm discombobulated, as you can tell. Hey Caroline. Um, so I hope you all are doing good. Hey Kelly. Hey Melanie. Hey Tanya. Hey Kathy. Hey Terry. I just saw Terry. I've seen Terry a couple times. Saw Kelly too. Seen a few of you. Hey Sharon. For a few classes that we've had. We're in class season right now. Hey Natasha. Um, Yeah, I really meant to, Rose. I really meant to, and it got away from me, and I didn't get it done in time. Hey, Jill. Um, so next week we're in class with Jackie Duplessis. I had no idea. It was like, hey, Barbara. Oh, you've got 2 pages done. That's fantastic. Hey, Judy. Hey, Hope. I had no idea that it was almost, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about it. And somebody who was in last weekend's class said, well, I'll see you in a week or so. And I went, no, that's a while off. And they were like, no. I was like, oh my gosh. So that's great. So we have Jackie Duplessis coming in. She's flying in on 4th of July. So I hope everything goes well with the flights. And then we will have her here for 6 days worth of classes. So it'll be fun. So she starts teaching on July the 5th, which is a Tuesday. She does a 3-day class for Schoolgirl, a project called Schoolgirl. And she does a 2-day class for a project called Tribute. And then she does a 1-day class for a project called Behold. I think it's Behold My Heart or something like that, or something. I label it Behold in my worksheet. And so that's how I think of it. So busy. So we've been getting ready for that this week, and so it's been fun because I can't show you what we made, but I will show you next week, and I will be on next Friday night. So that is the way we set the classes up lately. We do it different for different teachers. My hair's sticking up, and I don't think it's gonna lay down. I could lick it like my mom used to do. I won't do that to you. Um, I have been scheduling like a little social thing on the first night, and then sometimes if the teacher's okay with it, we'll schedule a stitch-in. Hey Tanya, oh, you just finished canning green beans. Oh, I've got some green beans in the refrigerator, but I bought them at the grocery store. But they do look good, and we're gonna cook those and eat them. I actually will only eat fresh green beans. And I can tell if they come from a can. And I guess it's because we had a garden when I was growing up, a pretty big garden. And my whole life we had the garden. And so our vegetables were from the garden always. And they were either fresh or frozen or canned. And depending on what the vegetable was. Or sometimes they were just stored downstairs in a dirt basement. Like our potatoes and our onions we would keep downstairs because it was dark and cool and it was earth. And my dad made a concrete floor down there, but there were parts of the basement that was still dirt, and just like the Baird house. And so we had like little ledges that we would store our root vegetables on. So kind of like a root cellar. And then we would just go down there and grab them. And that was always my thing. I either had to run to the garden and pull an onion or or find a cucumber or squash or something like that if it was the season, or run to the basement and find some potatoes or onions or whatever. And so I grew up like that. And now I can tell if it comes out of a can and I'm not interested. So I will eat frozen vegetables. I don't mind frozen, but not from a can. And I know that's spoiled, and I wish I weren't like that, but I can just tell. Um, on that note, I am going to start eating a lot more fresh vegetables. I have got to lose some weight. So I'm a hoss, as we would say down south. And, I've just really enjoyed eating whatever during the pandemic and not moving a whole lot. So time to pay the piper on that. But um, I am drinking water tonight and giving up sugar and drinks and stuff. So we'll get that done and then we'll worry about the rest. And I know some of you are there with me. It's not much fun, but it feels better to feel healthy. I know that. So it's worth it in the end. So what was I saying about the stitching? So we'll be doing a stitching on Friday night because it's the first night of the second class, and there's different people in each class, but it ends at 8 o'clock. And so at 8 o'clock, I'll come and jump on with you guys. And so I'm excited about that. It'll be fun. And, so we will be on next Friday night, and we'll keep it consistent going forward as much as we can. And I think we'll be able to do it. We've got a few more classes coming up, and I'll talk to you about that too. But I hope you guys had a good week or two, and I hope you're looking forward to a good 4th of July. I'll be setting up the classroom space for Jackie's class, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. It's nice to be able to do it early, and the hotel always lets me go in and do it early. Um, so Rachel lost 30 pounds with Body FX exercise program. The dieting was hard and stitching is sedentary. Yeah. Well, now I have a commercial treadmill, so I really have no excuses. Oop. That's my buddy. Um, Keto I've heard is really good, and my sister did keto. A lot of people have done keto, and I'm pretty good at when I'm exercising, I eat better, and I can, I'm very conscious of what I eat. If I'm not exercising for whatever reason, if I'm not exercising, I don't really care, and that's kind of where I've been. So I probably will get on something close to keto because that's kind of my natural go-to. I do like meat, and at one point in my life, I was almost vegetarian, and I wasn't able to eat any meat, and so when it came time to lose weight, it was really hard because it's really tough to lose weight when you don't eat meat. That sounds kind of weird, but yeah, this is Herschel. If you're just meeting him, I'm over here petting him now. He's lonely. He's very attached to me. And I guess the couple days I was gone for class last weekend, he was like nuts when I came home. Like you could tell he was really not happy I'd been gone that long. Hoping for the Saxon sampler soon. I almost put that up as the picture tonight. Um, I need to just finish it. It's finished. The model's done and everything. I just need to write the words for the booklet. The charting is done. I just need to write the words for the booklet. Um, which honestly, Tanya, I'd like to say I'll get that done this week, but I won't. There's no way I'll get that done this week. Not with the class and stuff. So that will probably be sorry, he had something on his little backside there. That will be maybe the week after. But remind me next Friday, and I will work hard on getting that done. And if I have little bits of time, I'll try to get it done because it's really pretty close. Mr. Herschel, you're showing your backside. Move along, buddy. You're patient. Okay, I appreciate that. You're on the carnivore diet for health reasons. You're right, Kim. Yeah, people, um, yeah, you got to do it right. And so, I really I will probably be much healthier by just cutting out my calories that I drink because I don't drink hardly any alcohol. But I will, and I mean, I can go like, it wouldn't bother me to go all year and not drink alcohol. I just don't. If it's a social thing, I will a little bit. Um, but I have been addicted to Mountain Dew for the last couple of years. And, having the shop be closed and running the shop from home, there's not a lot of space down here that's not covered in inventory. And so my movements are pretty contained. So, um, that is part of the problem. Your cat alternated between stitching chair and bed and cried all last weekend. Oh, Terry, I'm so sorry. I don't think Herschel cried, but I do think, oh, he's looking for trouble. I do think that he bugged our other cat half to death. Herschel, you've got to get down, buddy. Thank you. Um, because she's older and she doesn't want to play with him. And he has tried, so at first he tried really hard to be friends with her. She wants nothing to do with him. And she would hiss and smack. And then you're getting very old and you really want to stitch the Saxon sampler. Okay, Carol. That's a pretty heavy hint. So I'll get it done. It's a fun stitch, though. I will tell you, it's a fun stitch. And the bands, the closer you get to the end, the more fun it is because the bands are really neat. They're just little, and the bands get kind of smaller as you go down, which is unusual for a sampler. Usually it goes the other way, I think. But the big bands are at the top, and then the bottom bands are all kind of small. No pressure. Um, I don't remember what I was saying. I was talking about Herschel. I'm just all over the place. So, the Hands On Design Workshop. That was a lot of fun. Kathy Haberman of Hands On Design is a great finisher. She's a fun designer too, but she's a really excellent finisher. She's really good at sharing her knowledge. So I know a lot of you know Vonna, and Vonna has a lot of great tutorials out there. Kathy does too. So go check out her tutorials. I actually learned a finish that I had not even thought about doing before, which was kind of weird. Not that I know everything, because I don't. You guys know that. But I'm usually pretty smart at figuring stuff out. And I would not have finished this thing this way that she taught us. And I'm going to show you, if she had not had it written up. And I've got one more. I didn't get everything done because I didn't finish the stitching. I literally started stitching on it the Thursday week before class. And maybe I put some stuff some other places because I don't see it in here. That's pretty typical of me. But it might be in my other bag. Sorry, that's not nice to not be ready. I thought it was there. Not here either. I pulled it out and did something with it. I'll find it. Maybe the stitching fairies are finishing it. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So I'm going to show you the shape of this thing. And then I'm going to tell you how she showed us to finish it, which was pretty cool. She called them scissor charms. And what they are is, she's got a bunch of Christmas ornaments that are like this. But the shape of it is rounded on the top. It's like a tombstone shape, I'll say. And then it comes down like this. So it's rounded across the top like that. And then it's straight backwards like that. And so what she had us do, well, you've got mat board and everything, kind of like we looked at with the other thing. But we laced back and forth this way. So we laced this stuff back and forward. And then when you got up to here, then you went in and you did that little running stitch like I did on the circle. So you treat that like a circle and you do a little running stitch in and out and in and out around the curve. And then she pulled it tight right here around the rounded part of the mat board. And that created the circular thing, just like you would on a circle. She pulled it tight right here. And then she laced this part. And then you lace back and forth this way. And so it creates a perfect round up there. And of course, you've got some batting and stuff on the other side. Maybe I'll film the second one that I'm doing. But I think she has a tutorial out there for this. It's under some of the Christmas ornaments. And she shows you how to get the shape and everything for it. But I would have probably folded this over and laced it and worked it until I got it rounded. I would not have thought of doing, I would have laced this way, but I wouldn't have thought of doing the running stitch here and gathering that to make the round first and then lacing it. So I was really glad to learn that because it made a perfect round up there. So I would encourage you, if you're, we did the 17th, which I still haven't put together. I wanted to get it done for her class. I'm full of things to do. So full of things to do. Hey, Nancy from Texas. Hey, Michelle. So I would encourage you to go look at some of her tutorials too, because she's got a bunch out there too. So between her and Vonna, The world is your oyster. You can pretty much finish anything you want to. And then it starts to come kind of naturally, And I would say the biggest thing for me to finishing is to just try it. I mean, there's very few things you can mess up that you can't fix. And I I tend to just really make it work most of the time. But I was really happy to learn about that. I don't know why I never thought about that, but and I guess I haven't finished a lot of things really in that shape. Most of the things that I finish are round or square. They're not like a hybrid like that where you've got a round on one side and then you're kind of rectangular. But now that I know how to do it, I'll probably do a lot more of those because it's kind of neat. And I guess you could make it. Hers really was kind of in that longer tombstone shape, but I guess you could really make that shorter, and then it would be maybe a little more of a little fob kind of. And so I will sitting down and doing it. Yeah, Judy, me too, because I like to save them up. Hey, Sandra, I like to save them up. And I did a few the other day. So, that Easter one, it looked like Easter. It was Valentine's Day, but it's the one that I finished in the little glass bowl that was an Easter bunny and a squirrel, and it was all those kind of Whitman's samplers, finishing colors things. It was a round. Um, I found another one of those. So I stitched two. I stitched one on a 30 count and one on a 37 count. So that 30 count fit perfectly on the top of that little green vase thing that I told you I got at Walmart, which I think is why I stitched the 30 count. I think after I stitched the 37 count, I realized it would work like that. And so I did the other one. So I'm going to finish the 37 count as a pin disc because I love pin disc. I don't know why, I just do. Which, a pin disc is really kind of similar to an ornament. It could be an ornament too. Um, so Terry, you talked too much during class to finish everything, but you got it all done. Well, that's great. I'm glad you got it done. Several people who didn't, a lot of people finished in class, and the few people who didn't, a lot of people finished afterwards. I know myself and another person in my personal stitch group here haven't finished yet, but we will. So I would have done mine this week, but I was working on stuff for the class next week. So I will show you the needlebook part that I finished stitching. I haven't put it together yet, but that is the stitch part. Well, I've got to put my initials in the middle. That turns into a needlebook, and so I probably won't get that finished this week, but maybe in a couple weeks, probably 2 weeks from today, I'll be able to show it to you and I'll have it finished. But it was a really good class. Kathy was a great teacher. She's going to be coming back. And so if you want to travel and you want to, take an in-person class with Kathy, keep an eye out. We probably won't get to do it next year because her schedule's pretty full. She's got a wedding and stuff she's got to do next year. But if we can, we'll do it next year. But we're certainly doing it in 2024. So be ready for that. Yeah, it's pretty. And so that color pattern of this is what all the pieces kind of had going on. It's kind of that look to it. And it was called the top drawer. And it's got a little box that we made and some other stuff. Now, you'll see I put a T on top of that for top. Because when I was stitching that circle, which is what I started with, you can't tell top from bottom until you get all the other stuff done. So, I usually often on a needlepoint piece, but sometimes on an embroidery piece or cross stitch piece, I will put a little marker at the top so that I know what the top is. If you guys haven't been doing that and you have a need to do that because you're stitching something that's, kind of symmetrical, pick your spot is my advice on that. Always be consistent with where you put it. So I always go top left. Some people go top right. Doesn't really matter. Some people go top center. But pick a point, and if you ever have to mark it, always mark it in the same place. So that as soon as you look at it, you know where it is. So one of the things that we did this week for the class next week is we had to make something that had a little green leaf. And so there's a bunch of green felt. I don't know why green doesn't pick up on this particular computer. This is spring green and it looks crazy color there. Green, for whatever reason, is the only color that this thing won't pick up. That's so strange to me. But there's a lot of little pieces of green felt in there. Because my helper, Angie Weaver, used to teach kindergarten. And so she's done lots of crafting. And she was cutting the leaves out. So it was fun. We just winged it. Um, Chatelaines. Yeah, I like chatelaines too. I have two. Well, okay, so chatelaine. Uh, I might be saying that wrong because there's a chatelaine, which is like a tool where you've got, it came from like the middle centuries, the Middle Ages, and up through the 1800s, where you would have like tools that hung off of the senior female in the household, whether it was the wife or the housekeeper. You probably saw it in Downton Abbey, and it would have little tools hanging off of it and keys. That's a traditional chatelaine. And those designs that you're talking about, Rachel, they might be called chatelaines. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank. There's something like that. But they are the same on all four sides, and you just kind of turn it. And the design might be a little bit different, but as you're stitching it, they get really similar. I have one of those fully kitted that I've not started. Um, Chatelaine. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I can't think now. For some reason that sounded weird to me. Anyway, I've got the Holland one with the tulips, and I've got two other ones. Um, I missed that comment about the Scarlet House. Yeah, you do have to mark which one is top. Hey, Vicky, three of them this year. Well, I fell down that rabbit hole a long time ago. So if you just fell this year, you're lucky ducky. Mandalas, yeah, mandala is another thing like that. And if you're looking for mandalas, ink circles does a lot of those that are fun. So let me look at my little list. Okay, so I was going to do show and tell for the hands-on design workshop. Obviously, I didn't bring all the pieces. So I will show you those probably not next week, but maybe 2 weeks out. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Susan Greening Davis workshop in August. And I opened up the registration for that. It was half full when I opened it. I think there are still spots left in there. It's in person only, and it's really beautiful. It's an antique spool, and I can't remember. I might have shown you some of that the last time we were on together, but you can certainly see the pictures of it on the website. And it's 3 pieces of banding that she's taken some extracts from her antique samplers and different kinds of stitches and stuff, and it's just really beautiful. And so you stitch the 3 sections, and then she's showing you how to join them. And so the joining stitch to me is beautiful. If we flipped it over, which I've got a picture of it, but I didn't post that one, you can see the different types of banding, and they're all really unusual banding. They're not the typical banding that you see. And I've gone with her to Germany probably 5 times and bought banding. And so I was probably with her when she bought some of that. But it's very unique banding. And so it's beautiful. On the front, you can't really pick it up too much because you've stitched over it. But on the back, you can see the pattern of the banding, and it's really beautiful. So you'll see it as you're stitching it. But it adds a lot to it, and it just looks so vintage and just really pretty. So, okay, great. I did show it to you. So if you want to see that, or you're thinking about that, go take a look at that. A lot of people ask me if that could be a virtual class, and not right now, but maybe in the future. So I know a lot of her stuff, we're trying to get it to where we can do it virtually too. So we'll see how the in-person class goes and figure out the kinks in it. Because that's kind of always key to doing a virtual class, is making sure that you've hit all the stumbling points, so that people don't struggle too much. And then we'll see if we can do it virtually. So that's Susan's Summer House Stitch Workshop is the first weekend in August, and it is open for registration. Some of you are registered. It's not on online registration. You have to send me an email for that one. There are some spaces left in that. So if you're thinking about that, that's my birthday weekend, so that's always fun. And I forget which one of you, it might be Terry, has a birthday then too. So It'll be fun. That one will be in person. We do have a club coming up from Summer House later in the year, and you're gonna love it. It's very something very traditionally Appalachian that I asked her to do for us, so it's bespoke, and you're gonna really enjoy that. So that will be, kind of a stitch along, and that's coming in the fall. But I think you'll love that. Okay, so now I want to talk about something that happened this past week that it's kind of bad and it's okay too, and we're gonna make it great. So, Primitive Hair was supposed to be here for a class. Hey, Inez. Yeah, Margarita's on the 6th, Terry. Okay. Um, so it is your birthday. Yay. So Primitive Hair was supposed to be here the weekend before Halloween. And that's traditionally the weekend that we get Isabel to come. We haven't done it during COVID, but we've done it once or twice before. We did do a virtual class, I think, in 2020 when we had to, or maybe it was actually maybe last year too, 2021. Um, we might have had two virtual classes with her. I can't remember now, but anyway, she was supposed to be here this year, and I had not formally opened it up for registration. I had talked about it a little bit. And one of her other classes before us, the weekend before us in Florida, had to cancel. And so she had to fill that spot. And she filled it with the Sampler Guild of Georgia, which, made perfect sense for her. Hey, Janice, I'm glad you're here. But they're only 3 hours away from us. 3 hours in Europe is a long way. You can be in several different countries in 3 hours. But here, it's just down the road, especially with as few needle workshops as we've got. And I have a lot of friends in that group and a lot of customers in that group. And they had already announced. They announced this week. And so just to make sure that they had a wonderful event, I backed out. And Isabel's okay with that. She understood totally. She just had no idea how close they were, or, that we had so many customers in that group, because I think us both having back-to-back events would have hurt both events. And, it would have I would have felt bad if the guild people were torn about which event to go to. And so, they're going to have their event, and then we are going to do something else, but we are going to have a club kit with Isabel. So she had not finished designing the piece for our class yet, but she, is going to, and she showed me the plans for it, and we're going to do a club kit with that too. And it's really cool. And it's Halloween, but it's cute Halloween. So everybody's happy. And I'm hoping you're going to be happy with what we're going to do instead. So as you know, in September, we have our September soiree, and the classes are set for that. I still haven't gotten them posted, but I will try to get that done this weekend so that you can see that. I'll probably get that done, if not tomorrow, on Sunday, so that you can see those classes. There's 4 classes. Now, the September soiree is completely virtual, and I have decided that it will always be virtual. So the September soiree, it's been virtual this will be our second virtual year, and it was in person for 2 years, and we skipped a year. So, going forward, that's going to be a virtual event for us every year. So the third week of September, third weekend, is when we'll be doing the soiree every year going forward, till we get tired of doing it. So it's got its own format, and we're changing it this year a little bit, which we've talked about, to where you have some optional classes. Then we have group stitches. We'll be doing some virtual door prizes, nothing that we have to ship. We'll do one shipping. And so if you sign up for the soiree and you sign up for the classes, then we'll put everything together and we'll ship one time to each person that signed up. And there's a ton of people signed up for it. I know we're over 200, maybe closer to 3. So, and it's really low cost. It's a low entry barrier, which is what I wanted. I believe it's like $60 to sign up for, and that gets you into the stitch groups. It gets you into the drawings for the door prizes. It gets you into any lectures or anything that we do. And then if you decide you want to do one of the optional classes, they're all going to be really inexpensive, and you can do that. They'll be pre-recorded, so we'll send you the information. You can go out and watch your video, and you'll have your supplies, and you can try to work through your kit. And if you have questions, then you join the Zoom on a soiree weekend. And so we'll have the instructors, myself included, do a Zoom at least once, if not twice, to catch everybody, where you can ask your in-person questions and work through anything that's challenging. Hey, Rose. Does virtual mean a Zoom meeting? Yes, it does. And so it'll be online. Yeah, online. Sometimes they are Zoom and sometimes they are um, a hybrid of like video recordings and then Zooms and things like that. And that's how we're doing the soiree. So you've got a little bit of a hybrid thing in there because your classes, I want you to be able to take your time and watch those as slow or as many times as you want to without interruption. And then we'll do the Zoom part, which will be live and you can talk to your instructor. And we'll probably do two of those and maybe three if we need it. And so what'll happen is that if tons of people sign up for the optional classes, then we'll give you an assigned or you'll sign up for a particular Zoom meeting so that your instructor has enough time to be able to talk to everybody in there. So maybe there's only like 25 people or 20 instead of 100. So we'll be doing it that way. So look for the Zoom class signups. Yes, they are Zoom. Look for the optional class signups for the soiree early next week. And I'll probably try to get those posted on Sunday. You cannot sign up for those if you're not signed up for the soiree. So if you want to take one of the virtual classes with us, you have to be signed up for the soiree. That's the only barrier to entry. And that may be a little bit of a thing. Like, I don't know that I can prevent people from signing up for it, but I'll probably bounce it back to you. So if you sign up for a class and you haven't signed up for the soiree, you're probably going to note from me that says you need to sign up for the soiree. Okay, so that's the soiree. Now in October, which is September and October are my two favorite months of the year because it's really beautiful here. So in October, to replace that event that we lost with Isabel, we're going to do an in-person event the weekend before Halloween, and we're going to keep that consistent every year. So we're going to start doing that every year. It's going to be our retreat. It'll be a true retreat where we'll have the whole weekend because I already had the hotel space booked and everything. So we'll have the whole weekend. It'll be a true retreat. This year, the in-person is going to be limited to 24 people because that's really, the space gets a little tight. Terry will tell you, and Kelly, we had 26 people in there. We had 29 students last weekend, and it was a little tight. So, and that brings me to another point. I'm going to make a note because I need to make sure I tell you about this. Okay. So, and then we're also going to have it be hybrid. We're going to do a virtual part of that. So, and it'll be, Zoom. So Rose, it'll be Zoom. So the Zoom, the virtual part of the October event, the weekend before Halloween, that'll be limited to 75 people because we're going to do kind of a boxed set of things that we provide to you. And I will open this up for registration on July the 11th. So you've got time to think about this. So July the 11th, I'll open up the registration for the October event. And I've got a reason I haven't given it a name yet. And 24 of you can register to come in person. And those of you who want to participate virtually can register to come to attend virtually, up to 75 people. So that we're going to cap it at like 100 people. Because we're going to make these boxes, which are really cool. I know everybody's doing a box thing, but we did for years. We did Jack Stash, which started out as a box, and then we kind of migrated it to an envelope to be easier to mail. And we'll pick that back up when we open back as a shop. But it really is a hybrid of a lot of different things. This box will have in there bespoke designs, so things that we've designed for you, original designs. There won't be any reproduction stuff. It'll be original designs. It'll be focused on Halloween and fall, and then it'll have some really fun made for you, made for the event things in the box, right? So we'll ship that out to you if you're going to attend virtually, and you will have it to pick up if you're going to attend in person. The shop will be open by then. So it'll be open by then. That's all I'm going to say. I've told my husband it'll be open by then or we're going to pack it up. And he's like, oh gosh, we can't have all this stuff in the basement. I tried to sound scary. I don't know if it sounded scary. Um, so the shop will be open by then for sure. Now, I need you to help me with the name. So, I love good Vicky. I'm glad you like the online thing. And I'm really trying to do more things virtually because I know you guys love it and I love it too. Um I need a name for it and I haven't, cuz I named the September thing or September Stitch Soiree, Sassafras, whatever, blah, 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 all S's. And October here, I'll tell you what I have in my mind. Um, the Blue Ridge Mountains, um, Blue Moon, blue, I don't know. Um, it's not really all going to be about Halloween. It's going to be fall because fall here is really beautiful, but it'll have some Halloween content to it. So it's okay if it's got a little bit of a spookiness to it. And I know not everybody loves Halloween, so that's why I'm making sure it's got fall in there too. Um, so I'm struggling with the name. It's what that comes down to. So if you want to make some name suggestions, I would love it. And you can post them here in the comments. You can send me an email if you want to sassyjackcitra@gmail.com and put October name in it. If so, I'll pick it up. If you watch and you know, you're only on Instagram, you can message me there or whatever. But I don't want it to have the word Halloween in it. Um, and I don't know that I want the word fall in it because September is kind of a fall thing too. So I'm trying to get out of the rut and think of something else. So the 28th of October, Judy, this year. So it'll always be right before Halloween. The closest weekend we can get to Halloween is when it will be every year. So, and it will be in person and hybrid because Halloween for me is a big deal. I love it. It's just fun. I've always loved it my whole life as a little kid. From the time I carried my pillowcase around my neighborhood and collected candy, I have loved Halloween. It's just always been so fun. And my dad loved it. He loved Christmas too, and so do I. And we decorated for both. It was fun. So we have a Halloween tree that has all kinds of handmade ornaments for it that we put up the last time we did this. And you'll be in Hillsboro. Well, you know what, Judy? That's pretty close. So I think you can make that drive. Um, so fall in the Blue Ridge. Yeah, that's something we could think about too. Or, something catchy to where because people are only ever going to say one or two words of it. Like for the stitching soiree or the September soiree, they just say soiree, which is fine. So see you Tuesday. Yay, Cindy. Yay. And Cindy, I got your note about 32 count. I'm definitely bringing it. I had a ton of it last weekend and, I'll have it, this week too. And I had some beautiful linen. So excited about that. Um, yeah, help me think of it. Never been a Halloween fan, but you think it's because your birthday's on the 28th. Yeah, that can happen. People who have birthdays that bump right up against holidays, it's not so much fun. I used to hate it because my birthday was in the middle of the summer and school was out. And so, it wasn't as big of a deal as when you're a little kid as it was if you had a birthday when you were in school. So the grass is always greener, I guess I'll say. But I do want it to be fall slash Halloween, Halloween slash fall. Not all fall, not all Halloween. And my Halloween is never like crazy scary. It's just a little bit spooky. Like I have an idea for one of the bespoke designs that I love, and it's really just kind of funny. Um, your brother's anniversary is Halloween. A lot of people have got married on Halloween. I've seen it's fun. Um, I got married October 2nd to Everett, and so we were definitely, the beautiful fall here. It was pretty. So, hey Kathy, the Blue Ridge Color Extravaganza. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Terry. But I don't know that everybody will get all those words out. But that's good. I like it. So, here usually the leaves are mostly gone by Halloween. Just FYI. It's always really weird. Like it's always between I'm gonna say the middle of September and the third week of October is when we get the best colors here. The cauldron gathering. I like that. Now, see, I could do that, but then people would be um, thinking it was really spooky. Um, so I like that, but maybe maybe sister stitch or something, that kind of implies but leaves it open. So I don't know. You guys keep it coming. Keep it coming. We're going to get there. But that's why it doesn't have a name, because I need help, and you're my helpers. So help me with that. And I hope you'll enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy the fact that it is also going to be, um, have some virtual content to it, some online content. And, if it goes well and once we're in the shop, um, you were bummed when your kids came 2 weeks early. Yeah, I had my best friend in Atlanta. Her birthday was on Halloween. And I was so jealous of her. And I love her. She's gone now. She actually had a stroke and she died really young. Her name was Jennifer Calamari. And she was my first real friend I made when I moved to Atlanta. And she had this my computer is sliding because it's sitting on top of a lot of kits that we made. She had this long, dark, naturally curly hair, and she was just the biggest personality. And I loved her. I really did. And I was really sad when she died so young. She was probably, I bet she wasn't 30, maybe 30, and left behind two twin girls. She had two sisters that were twins, and then she had two twin girls, and she left them behind. Ghoul Gathering's a good one, Kelly. Yeah, thank you, Rose. I'm sorry too. I've lost a few good friends in my life, but um, it's good that I had them. That's what I think about it now. I'm glad I had good friends that I actually miss. you know, I mean, because some people get through their life and they don't, and that's sad. Crunchy leaves screaming. Yeah. Um, yeah, it gets kind of crunchy here. I, the screaming thing is interesting because I was kind of thinking about things that are unique to the area, to the mountains. And there's a legend. We have wildcats here, which I know we talked about that one time. And you guys have wildcats in different places you live too. But there are black panthers in the mountains. They say they're gone, but they're not gone. And because we've seen them recently. And I don't know if they got reintroduced or they just were never gone. I don't think they've ever been gone. I had a cousin who lived way out in the country, and her family and my mom's family lived on the same mountain. And basically, my mom's family inherited half, and her family inherited half. And when my mom's parents died, none of them could afford to buy the others out, and so they had to sell it. But she got to keep hers, and she just sold it not too long ago, and it's in Barnardsville. It's like one little town out. But they lived in a cabin, a true cabin, when I was a kid, and I would go stay with her sometimes, and they had like an outhouse and everything. I mean, it was a true cabin. Later, they built, different uh, house or something, but at that time, and I remember hearing a wildcat cry out during the night, and it's so true what they say. Like they say, it sounds like a woman crying or a child screaming, and it does. And it's the eeriest sound. Like, it's not, but it makes your skin crawl. So it's kind of crazy. But there's this legend, and I think it's called a catamount, and I'd have to go research it. That there's a creature in the mountains that is part wildcat, is a changeling between a wildcat and a human, which it's just a legend, right? But that would be kind of fun. But I'd have to research that. But when you said screaming, that's what it made me think of, was the animals in the woods. Um, I will talk to the Fairfield about that, Terry. Their prices are all over the place, and they sometimes you can get a decent rate there, and sometimes it's like $400. Um, so I will talk to Drew about that again before we go into next year and see if we can't do that, because we had so many classes there this year. Now, um, that kind of brings me into the next point, Blue Ridge Revelry. Now that's pretty good. That's good, Terry. I like that. And I like your little icon too. That's cute. Your big eyes on there. So we have really concluded that we are going to build our classroom building. And, I keep saying it and I keep talking about it. And my issue was I could never figure out what kind of building I wanted to build. Um, because my eyes get bigger than my stomach sometimes. That happens with stitching too. So, my stitching eyes get way bigger than my stitching stomach. I always start. That's why I'm such a good starter. I hope springs eternal here. So, what I want sometimes, and then when I get back down to earth, what I'm willing to pay for and willing to do are two different things. And so we finally have concluded that we are going to build the classroom building as soon as we get into the shop and get it open, which we haven't had any real work done there since the last time we talked. So there's not a lot to update you with, except that I think we're getting closer to actually getting it done. So Everett had a lot of other jobs he had to do the last couple of weeks, so he's not been over there to finish it. But I think we'll get it done in the next couple of weeks, if not this weekend, to where we can get the power on, which means we get the permit and we can get in there and or get the permit so we can get the power on, get in there and finish it up. So it's going to be on the same piece of property. It's kind of, for those of you who have been there, when you drive into the driveway, you're looking straight at the house. The little classroom building will be on the left. And it'll be big enough to house at least 40 to 50 people, students, with a catering kitchen in the back. I'm not going to do any accommodations on it, although I would love to. And that's where my heart keeps getting torn, because I kind of want to do that. But I'm not going to bite that off. So I'm just not. The reality is that it would be like staying in a dorm room. You'd have to go upstairs to get there, and it'd have bunk beds, and I just don't think you'd love it. You don't think that my stitching eyes are bigger than what I can stitch? Oh, well, it depends on how much time I give myself to stitch it, Beth. Oh, Linda, I do need help with an architect. That would be great. That would be fantastic, because I don't have an architect here. And my husband can drop the plans, and he can even get them signed off. But I need to kind of get in my head what I want. So I'm not going to do the accommodations as much as I've thought about it, because I just don't think they'll be well loved. Um, I would not want to walk up and down the stairs to sleep in a bunk bed. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't know about you, but those days are behind me. Um, yeah, Rose, we are going to keep accessibility in mind, and that's what we've done with our house too. So the hold up right now on finishing up the house and getting the permit is just pouring the concrete at the end of the handicap ramp. So the handicap ramp that we put on the house is gorgeous. It looks like a big deck. And then the two spots out there. We widened every doorway in the house. Ooh, there's a bug on me. Ah, where's my cat? My cat usually jumps at a bug. I'm glad he didn't see that. Who'd have been in my face? We widened every doorway downstairs. Oh, here he comes. He heard me. Can you believe that? All I said was my cat. And here he came. And they act like they don't understand English, but I'm telling you they do, because we don't call him the cat. We call him by his name. Oh, gosh, what have I got myself into with this beast? Yes, so it's going to be one level. It'll be, handicap access all over the place. I think you'll really enjoy it. We've tried to keep that in mind, because, we're going to need it. Some of you need it. We're going to need it. I've got local people who need it. I've got family members who need it. And, I want to keep going as long as I can. So, and if that means, rolling in there, I'll roll in there. If it means getting pushed in there, I'll get pushed in there. Whatever it takes, it's fine. So, yes, I do always keep that in mind. And Everett's really good about it, too. And he physically was the one that widened all the doorways. He tore out the old doorways, and he built the new ones himself. And so, we've definitely been very thoughtful. He actually built our house that we live in that way. And so it's built so that down here in the basement, there's a roll-in, shower. It's very accessible. And we were getting ready to do that on the main living floor too, because he knew that, if necessary, you could come in down here and take your shower and then, go around to the top level through the driveway or whatever. But, he's going to add that upstairs too. That was my thought, that we probably are going to need it upstairs, just so we don't have to make the roundabout to get up there. So that's coming up too. And the reason he's so happy about that is because there's a clawfoot tub in the bathroom that we're going to do it in, and he hates it. So he found every excuse in the world not to carry that clawfoot tub upstairs at the Baird house. Because I had one that I took out of a rental house, and I saved it for the Baird house. And, he was like, you can't get that upstairs. I was like, oh, Yeah, we can. He's like, no, no, no. The stairs won't hold it. I was like, these stairs have held everything that's gone up and down them for 150 years. I bet they do. And I talked to my builder, and he was like, oh, yeah, you just carry it up the stairs. I said, well, what do you mean? Because Everett was like, you can't carry that up the stairs. He goes, well, two guys just put it on their back like a turtle and carry it up there like it was a turtle shell. And so I got two guys to carry it up the stairs like it was a turtle shell. And so, anyway, he's not a big fan of the clawfoot tubs. Um, so that one gets to go that's here in our house. I don't know what we'll do with it. Down here, a lot of them ended up as troughs, water troughs or feed troughs for farm animals. So when I was a kid, we had a horse, and there was an old bathtub that probably came out of the house I lived in, um, out at the barn, and it was meant to feed or water, the animals. But I used it to climb on the horse. So, when I wasn't supposed to be on it. That was how I got on there when there was nobody to help me. Um, anyway, so I'm pretty excited about that. We've decided what kind of building it is. I don't have the plans for it. I know how big it's going to be. We want it to be kind of high ceilinged, because we have a lot of things we need to put in there and hang in there, and we've got a lot of windows for it already. So we're pretty excited. Yeah, that's a good idea for flowers. Maybe that's what we'll do with the one here. Um, hey, Rhonda, or we could put it outside well, we already have a hot tub. That would be kind of neat to make it be like its own little. I've seen pictures of them made into little hot tubs, but the problem with cast iron is they don't hold heat. They're very romantic, but they don't hold heat. And honestly, they're not that romantic when you're getting out of it or in it, especially if you fall and slip. So I'm torn about them too. Um, but we do have one in the Baird house, but we also have a nice shower. So in the house itself, in the shop itself, there are two guest rooms upstairs. So for those of you who want that experience of staying in the shop, you will have those two guest rooms, and they're pretty swank. I think you'll like them. Um, and then the classroom building, though, I don't think we will do that. I think we'll use that space for, uh, we won't worry about that space upstairs. I just don't think it'll be very. I don't think people will love it. Um, and I've thought about the whole elevator concept at the Baird house. I left a little space for it if I needed to put it in there, but I need to get the house done first, and then we'll revisit that. But there's so many Airbnbs around, which I know is not great for the local folks who rent because they have trouble finding a place to rent. But there's so many Airbnbs around our area that lots of folks are finding places to stay that are fantastic and are very affordable, for classes. So they're not having to, book expensive hotel rooms and stuff like that. There is another hotel that's getting ready to open up really close to the shop. It's, if you've ever came here, there's a Days Inn that's close to the old shop. And for a long time, it was the closest hotel to the new shop. It was the closest hotel to the old shop too. Um, right across the street from that is another new hotel that's building up. So we're excited about that too. I don't know. I think it's so the Fairfield is Marriott. I don't know what the other one's going to be unless it's a Holiday Inn or something like that. Um, so that's the Baird House and the classroom building. I've talked to you about that. We talked about October. Um, okay, so here's the thing for the October thing that I didn't tell you. Registration opens on Monday to July the 11th. If you're going to register for in person, and there aren't a lot of spots, it'll stay open until it's full. If you're registering for virtual, it'll close a month later, whether it's full to 75 or not, because we have to get all the boxes ready. So 75 virtual spots, and it will close on August the 10th, not October, August the 10th. So registration will be open for a month, and then it'll close. So that's that. And I wanted to tell you what I did today. So I had to buy some thread for something that's happening soon that I didn't have the thread for, and I wouldn't have gotten it in time if we had ordered it. And so I had to go shopping. So I tried Hobby Lobby, and I got two of them, and I tried Joann's, and I got three of them, and I tried Michael's, and I got none of them because Michael's has no, cross stitch stuff anymore. And so I called the shop in Johnson City, Tennessee, which I love. and they had what I needed. And so I went out there today. So I drove out to Johnson City today. It's called, I always want to forget what it's called, and I don't have my phone here. It's either Cross Stitch and Craft or Cross Stitch and More, but it's in Johnson City, Tennessee. And the owner's name is Sandra. And the other woman that works there, her name is Amy. And they are so sweet. The new shop is actually on the same road as the old shop. It's just closer into Asheville. So it's at 446 Weaverville Road, which is technically in Woodfin. I know that's weird, but it's called Weaverville Road because it runs all the way from Biltmore, that road. You can go from Biltmore, which actually can go all the way to the airport on that road if you really wanted to. It runs all the way from out there. It runs through downtown Asheville. It runs up through North Asheville, which is technically where the new shop is, into Woodfin, and that's the little town name of the new shop, but the city is Asheville. It has an Asheville address, and then straight into Weaverville. Um, and then that road used to run all the way to Tennessee. Now there's an interstate. So it was called Old Weaverville Highway forever, and that's what it's called now, Weaverville Road. Like most people, locals will still call it Weaverville Highway. Because when we grew up, that's what it was called. Now, it's not a highway. It's never been a highway. It's a 2-lane road. So it is on the same road that the shop is on. It's just changes names. And so if you follow that road up, it comes through Asheville. It's called Merriman Avenue. Then it turns into Weaverville Road. And then it turns into Main Street in Weaverville. And so it gets a few name changes. It's I forget what it's called when it goes through downtown Asheville. It turns into Hendersonville Road. I think it might be called Biltmore Avenue or something, but it changes names a bunch of times, but it's the same road. And it is 2.5 miles from the old shop on the same side of the road. Now, if you wanted to get there on the interstate, you would just take 2 exits earlier from the old shop. If you're coming from the city. So it's off New Stock Road. The folks that there's a putt-putt course beside us. It used to be empty. It was grass when we bought it. And they built a little putt-putt course there, and it got sold. And so the guy that bought it, I think I might have told you that he is opening up a restaurant and a brewery. My throat's dry from talking so much. Making you ready for your mountain vacation, Terry? That's excellent. And so I saw them over there working this week too, which is pretty cool. And so because it was like a kid's arcade on the inside, it had these big like screen window prints of gophers and stuff. And so they were peeling off the gophers. I was like, yes, that's awesome. No more gopher. He's a local guy too. He's from this area, and he came back here after he left his corporate job, and he's got a couple restaurants, and he opened up a pharmacy closed on Main Street in Weaverville, and he reopened it. He came from the pharmaceuticals industry, and so he reopened it to keep Rose wants to hear about how I almost got kidnapped, to keep locals, to let them have a local pharmacy. Okay, I'll tell that story. Let me get some water in me so my throat's not so dry. Okay. So, Kim, can you tell us the story how you were kidnapped or almost kidnapped in Italy? I've been so curious since you mentioned it. I will tell you. And I apologize if I've told this story before. So, I was I was living in Holland. So I was living in Rotterdam. So that would have been somewhere between 2002 and 2004. And I'm going to guess it was probably 2003. And I wanted to go back to Italy. I went to Italy. I went to Rome and did a few things in Italy. I had been over there working in Parma, Italy, which is where Parma ham comes from and Parmesan comes from. And there was a composer, I forget which one it was. I don't think it was. I don't even want to say because I'm going to sound dumb if I say it. There was a composer born there in Parma too that fell out of favor. Anyway, and they shipped his. There was some story. Anyway, I'll skip that because I don't know the details of that. But Parma was a really neat place. But I was there working for a few weeks, and I had some team members there. And then when the job was over, my first husband and I were together, and he met me over there, and we traveled down around Italy, and we went down to Florence and Venice and Rome, and we tried to go to the Vatican, and it was the wrong day and they were closed. And so we didn't get to see the Sistine Chapel. And I was not happy. So we had to go home. And so we went ahead and went, well, I say home. We flew back to Holland, which is where I was living. And then he came back home. He was actually still living in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so he came back home after that. But he helped me book, he found the hotel for me to stay at and booked my hotel for me to go back like a couple weeks later. And I went over there on the weekend, and I went over there with the intention of seeing the Sistine Chapel. Need to work and putt in a brewery. Yeah, that's a good plan, Sharon. And I also had just finished reading a novel by Dan Brown. It was the second novel that was mainstream, not his, it was his fourth novel, but it was Angels and Demons is what it was called, and it was based in Rome. And if you've read it, you'll remember that it has it hits four different churches, or maybe you've seen the movie with Tom Hanks. But it takes place in four different churches, and there's different sculptures, and I don't think they're all by Bernini, but Bernini is my favorite sculptor. I love his sculpture. I mean, he's amazing. And there was one called The Rapture of St. Agnes that's in one of the churches there that was in the book. And I don't remember. I think they did show it in the movie too. But I wanted to see all those churches and see all those works of art that had been talked about in Angels and Demons because I had just finished the book. And so I was by myself, which I travel by myself a lot. I wasn't too worried about that. And I had spent all day that day going trying to find the different churches, and there were four, and I had found three of them, but I could not find the last one. And I had walked around and around and around where it was supposed to be and just could not find it. And so I'm in my, let's see, at that point 2006, I would have been 2008, I would have been, I don't know, I turned 35 when I was living over there, so I was at least 35. I don't know. You'd think I'd be better with math since I'm a CPA, and I passed the CPA exam. Took the CPA exam without a calculator, but I'm not. So anyway, I was at least 35, so I was not a young chick, and I'm looking like an American. I had my little backpack, and I don't know what I had on. T-shirt. My usual was cargo pants, tennis shoes, and a t-shirt. And so that's probably what I was wearing. This becomes important later. And so I walked around and around and around looking for this last church that had the sculpture, The Rapture of St. Agnes, in it. And just couldn't find it. I mean, it was ridiculous how hard I had looked for that for hours and couldn't find it. And I'd found all the others. And so I was sitting on this rock wall looking at my map. And I was sitting in front of a place that was a little bit fancy looking. It looked like maybe like the back of a museum or something like that. It was a little bit, it was definitely controlled parking. There was a gate and stuff there, so not just anybody could get in there. And it was a good part of town. And I wasn't afraid. Nothing bad had happened. But I was sitting there, and I was probably tired looking. I was definitely tired feeling. Sitting on this rock wall with my little backpack looking at the map. So I looked like an American. There's no getting around that. I do not look Italian. And when I go to Italy, anybody who's not dark-haired or dark-eyed, if you're female over there, and it used to be worse, but it's still about the same, you get catcalled a lot because they just don't see fair-haired, fair-skinned people or light-eyed people a lot. And so they're just very interested in you. but the people are really nice. And so I was fine. But I was definitely looked at a place. And so this older gentleman, older than me at the time, probably my age now, um, came out of the parking lot in a relatively nicer car, high end car, probably a Mercedes or something. And he stopped. And Mercedes over there, everybody has a Mercedes, I feel like. It's not, but it was a nice car. And he was in a business suit and he stopped and he rolled down the window and he asked me if he could help me. And so I hopped up and I took my little map over there and I said, yeah, can you show me where this church is? And he goes, really quick, why don't you just hop in and I'll just drive you there? It's just right around the corner. And I was so tired that I hesitated and I thought about it and I almost did it. I was so tired. And then my wits clicked in and I was like, no, we don't get in cars with strangers in strange countries. And I said, well, can you just show me on the map? And then he could only speak Italian. And so we did this back and forth probably 4 times where his English was really good when he wanted me to get in the car. And when I asked him to just show me on the map, he could only speak Italian, and he knew I didn't speak any Italian except for, just a few words. And I finally, just walked away and he was mad and he left. And it dawned on me a little bit later that that was a close call. And that if I had gotten in that car, I may not have been seen again. And if I were, it would have probably been coming out of a river, a lot paler than I am naturally. And so I was just like, wow, what shocked me was that I even thought about getting in the car because again, I'm in my mid 30s. I had traveled a lot and I've traveled a lot more since then, but I had traveled a ton. It was not my first time traveling on my own. It wasn't even my first time in Italy. I was just trying to get to the Sistine Chapel. That was the only thing I missed. And I was doing this other thing. And I just couldn't believe that my guard was down because I was so tired. It taught me a really good lesson about, always being aware of how you feel and maybe not letting yourself get that worn down and that tired. And so the funny part about it, after that, I was like, I know how to make this happen. And I got on the train and I rode back to my hotel. And then I took a cab directly to the church I was trying to go to. So, because I didn't know enough Italian to communicate to the cab driver where I wanted to go because I was inside Italy and not all Italian cab drivers spoke English. Coming from the airport, yeah. And usually when you're in a place where you don't speak the language, you'll have a card of the place where you're going that you can show them. But when you're in and about the city, A, there weren't a lot of cabs around, and B, I might not have got somebody who could speak English. And the main problem, I think, is that there weren't a lot of cabs around because where I was really central Rome, and it was a lot of walking. People walked and took the metro, the tube, and so I took a cab straight back to the hotel. And I'm not kidding you, I was pretty much sitting outside. I mean, straight back to the church that I wanted to go to. I was pretty much had been sitting right outside that church when I talked to that man, and I was just so tired that I just couldn't see it. For some reason, I just didn't see the entrance to the church. Yeah, you're right about that, Rose. Yeah, I'm glad that it went well too. I'm glad I had my wits about me and quickly before I got into that car. But it was so funny because I was literally right there the whole time. Literally, I had walked around and around and around and around and around that church. So the story's not over. So I went back to my hotel on the metro, the tube, whatever, and took a cab back. Got to see the church, saw the church, and it was getting to be a little bit later in the day now. It was starting to get dusk, not dark. And so I was walking back to take the train back home because I knew where I was. I'd been there all day. And so I was just going to get the train or the tube or whatever, the underground, and take it back to my hotel. And I was in this esplanade, this kind of open area, and this young Italian guy came up. And remember, I'm mid-30s. I'm at least 35, maybe 36. This very young Italian guy maybe 21, 22, came up to me and started talking to me. Well, I'm going to talk to him. I wasn't in that big of a hurry. And so I'm talking to him and, just normal chit chat. He just wanted to practice his English. And it was time for me to go. I wanted to go before it got dark. And I told him that. I said, well, I kind of need to go. And he goes, oh, I want to tell you goodbye. I said, okay. And in Italy, different countries do different things. And so in Holland, they give you 3 kisses. And it's always, you have to start with the right cheek. You have to know which way they're going, or you'll hit somebody in the face, or you'll kiss them on the mouth. You see what's coming here, I'm sure. In Italy, it was 2 kisses. And so he wanted to kiss me goodbye. And so I'm thinking, no big deal, the 2 cheek thing. And so I lean in for him to kiss me on the cheek. And he goes, no, 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 no. I want to kiss you with passion. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, passion. I want to kiss you with passion. I said, I'm married. And he goes, that's okay. He goes, I still live with my mother. It's okay. I have clean hands. I want to kiss you with passion. And I said, no passion, and I had to go home. And so anyway, I left the poor guy standing there, and I went and got on the train and got back to my hotel. And so I get back to my hotel and I call my husband, and I tell him the story, and you'll never guess what the first thing he said to me was. I tell him the whole story about the whole day. And he goes, Kim, what are you wearing? I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like it's my fault, right? And I said the same thing I always wear, a t-shirt and a pair of cargo pants, And it was just so funny because that was what he said. What are you wearing? Like, I guess he was sure I had on some low-cut shirt or something. I was like, no, just a regular clothes here. It was just so funny, It was a funny experience, and that kind of capped it off. That because he wasn't mean or mad or anything. It was just really funny. He was trying to figure it out, like a guy. So that was a big experience with almost getting kidnapped. But I really do think I almost got kidnapped. I was from, and I said the South, as I'm used to saying, and he says South America, and I just laughed and said a little further north. Terry. So, I missed the first part of that. You bought a book written in Italian, told him you're from America, and he asked where. I'm going to have to go back and read that comment. I don't know how to get back up there, but that sounds like a funny story. So I have to get back and read that. But that was my almost kidnapped story. And, it taught me some things at the ripe old age of 35, 36. And that's to, A, not get that tired. And B, always have your wits about you. Because a little more trusting person and a little more tired, and that could have went a different way. But I'm glad it didn't. But as soon as he did that the first time and started talking in Italian, and only Italian, which I knew he spoke perfect English because he'd already demonstrated that, then I knew I was doing the right thing. But that was interesting. I have a lot of other really funny stories. That one was kind of a scary one, but I have really funny stories too, so we'll have to hit some other ones. And I did get to see the Sistine Chapel on that trip, so that was good. But it was just a weekend trip. It was quick in and out. So I got to see all my angels and demons things and saw the Sistine Chapel. The other memorable thing I remember about that trip was I was pretty central, and so I woke up to the sound of all the church bells. And I love that. I've been several places where that's happened. And on a Sunday morning, especially if your window's open, and a lot of times it is in Europe because a lot of places don't have AC. So you're just, trying to catch a breeze. You wake up and it's just the church bells, and they ring everywhere from every direction. And in that particular hotel that I was at, it was that situation. Like, there were churches all around me and all the bells were ringing, and it was just a really, really cool thing. A really cool thing. If I haven't told you the story about Vienna and church bells, remind me in the next call and I will tell you that. That's a good one too. It's not funny, but it's good. It's not sad or scary either. It's just really cool. And I may have already told you about it. Anyway, funny things. So, Johnson City, I didn't get really all through that, but I went there today and I bought some things and I had a great visit. and she's really well stocked. And so they've got a website, but they don't have like all their inventory on the website. But if you're looking for something, they're a great shop to check with because of that, because she's got really good inventory. She has all the normal designers and stuff, and she's got great linen and threads, and she had the threads I needed. Um, and they will ship to you. So if you're not finding it, you can always check with them. And if you plan a trip here, they're 50 miles from my house, 40 miles from the shop away. And it's a beautiful drive over into Tennessee. And I don't know if you knew this, but at one point, North Carolina and Tennessee were one big state. And so that's why it just has this weird little jagged cut through it. And you can kind of tell if you look at the map that they look like they kind of were together at one point. And they were. But it's a beautiful drive through the mountains. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous drive any time of the year. It's so pretty. You get such a pretty view of the mountains. And when I was driving back from there, that's when I was really thinking about the October event. So, did I get to Austria? I did get to go to Austria. I did. And so that's the one where you needed to ask me about the church bells. If I haven't told that story, it's kind of neat. Um, and so I was thinking about it coming back because just the Blue Ridge Mountains were just so beautiful. Yeah, Vienna. I was in Vienna. I was. Um, that's the only place I was actually at in Austria. I was in Vienna, but it was neat and it was beautiful and I enjoyed it. And I've gone through there since then, but I've gone just kind of in and out. I haven't spent a lot of time over there since then. But that particular trip, I spent some extra time over there, which I usually tried to do if I was going somewhere. I tried to spend extra time and get to see the place. So, and Vienna's cool because that's where Mozart's from. Um, well, that's where his family was, or where he was. See, that I get all my history mixed up because I don't know if he was actually born there. I feel like he was. But I know he lived in a place for a while that he didn't really like. But I feel like he was born in Vienna or thereabouts, really close. Um, the Lipison horses. I don't know if I got to see that. I don't think I did. I went to a really cool museum there. And I went to see a performance because Vienna's a musical city. I went to see a performance of Mozart there, which was really neat. I enjoyed that live. Um, so, uh, so things to do. Um, think about the name for the October event. Think about whether or not you want to join it. It will be fall Halloweenish. 75 online spots, 24, maybe 25 in-person spots. Um, I'm the only teacher you'll have. It'll be a true retreat, and I won't be really teaching. We'll just be having a good time. The shop will be open. Um, we'll have a good time. So we'll have a good time online, and we'll have a good time in person. Um, and think about the soiree if you've not done that yet, and look for the optional classes for the soiree on, after Sunday. I'll get them up there. Um, what else? Did you guys have any other questions or things you need to ask me about? And we will be online again next Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I'll have some more things to show you. And then 2 weeks from then, I'll definitely have a lot more things to show you because we'll be done with the classes and I'll have a lot of things to share. Take a look at Susan's class and Beth Seal's class if you're thinking about coming in person. Those are both posted and out there. You can see the projects. See what you think about that. And if you've got, ideas or questions or anything that you want to share with me about the classroom building or events for next year or the year after, let me know that. We're going to keep our standard events with Beth Seal the first weekend in August. That happens every year. The soiree, the October thing, those two will happen every year. Susan will be here at least once or twice every year. We bounce the dates around a little bit. Kathy Haberman will be here maybe next year, definitely the next year. Jeanette Douglas will definitely be here the next year. But next year, 2023, has a little bit of opening in it. I'm not going to do as many classes as I've done this year. This year we had classes doing catch up from COVID, from pandemic. And they're a lot, and it's a lot. And so probably won't do that next year. We'll probably, decrease it a little bit, but we'll still have room for, some good stuff. And we're going to try to keep doing good stuff online. So, especially if you have ideas for things you'd want to see virtually, let me know. Um, and, if there are things that you want me to teach virtually, we can do that too. And I've got the Saxon sampler on my list, so I'll work on that too. So, I hope that you guys have a fabulous 4th of July and a fabulous week. Um, I'm going to keep it pretty quiet, and I'm going to finish some stitching tonight. And I can't wait to show you what I've been working on because it's pretty neat. And I have some really cool ideas for the fall. I've got another really neat idea that I think we'll do as kind of a stitch along. And don't forget about, I know some of you ordered the heartstring samplery chart that we talked about for our stitch along. I haven't started that yet. But I hope some of you have. So don't forget about that. And also, if you stitch the Fiber Talk friends, I know some of you have sent me pictures. We're going to cut off the first mailing for June 30th. So everybody that we got pictures in from yesterday, now you have the whole month of July to finish it up and send me your picture for the scissor fob. So if you haven't sent me your picture yet for Fiber Talk friends and you've stitched it, get that into me and we will get you your scissor fob out. And for those of you that I owe a gift certificate to for like the Red February stuff, it took me a little while to figure out how to do the digital ones. I don't know why. And I finally got it figured out for Fiber Talk when we did those. I've got to go back and find my list of names. So I haven't forgotten you. I will get your certificate out to you. There's a few people that I haven't settled up with yet. So don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. So Mozart was born in Salzburg, Germany. That's right. And then he basically was in Vienna and did, like, he was like his patron was there, I think, Vicky, if I'm right. You can help me with that. I get it all jumbled in my head. I know it sometimes, and sometimes I forget. I have too many things in my head. So have a great 4th of July. I will see you guys back next week. Thanks for coming and playing along. It was a lot of fun for me, and I'm glad you like it. And post your pictures of finishes and stuff on the Sassy Jacks website. So I would love to see it. So or the Facebook page or whatever, or Instagram. You can do Instagram too. And join Beth and I in stitching not Harriet Salt. The Bristol, which is Alice Ellen Usher. My mind is gone. I'm getting so old. Alice Ellen Usher. So yeah, join us in stitching her and post your whips for that. All right, I'm gonna go get something for my throat because it's so dry. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.